Doing a little dance in there that y'all guys couldn't see, which is probably good. Hey guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon, and this is
Soul 7.
Shannon with Soul 7. And welcome to the Supernatural Show. We're going to be doing something today that we're probably going to trip over our feet and everything else a few times, and it might just not even work at all. But we're going to try it, and we need to go ahead and try it live. So we're going to do that, and that is call ins. Yeah, we're going to do call ins. Just so you kind of understand what's going on and how the way this is going to work. I may explain it again here when some more people come in. And welcome to the ones that are here. And thank you for coming again. But what we're going to do is I've got a chat room basically set up, a call in chat room where I'll display a phone number here in just a minute. And it will have a PIN number. So you'll need the phone number and the PIN number. And you can call in and share, if you like, a supernatural story. And, true supernatural story, some event that's happened to you in your lifetime. So we're going to be attempting that today after we check in here with Shannon and see how she's doing today and what she might have to say.
Well, hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm excited to hear some stories from you guys live. It's an exciting day. We're trying this out, and yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Got my Holy Spirit shirt on. I'm ready to bring in the supernatural.
Supernatural truth. It's its own category of truth, you might say, but it's one that is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger with the things that are going to come upon the earth. And people are going to be looking for an answer to these. And if we're not up and going and ready, because they're already coming upon us, all the apparitions people are seeing in the heavens and stuff, the white glowing orbs flying around that half the people still believe that those are aliens from another planet way out yonder. They still believe that because they were indoctrinated as a child, just like we were, and we used to believe it too, that those are aliens maybe coming from another planet, and they're not. Everything that is here is from here. This is it. And the things that we see in the heavens and the things that we see that are supernatural were all created by our Father. And Father of all things, as a matter of fact. And so, yeah, we want to kind of see if we can't bring a little truth into people's understanding of where they really live and what all these things that are going to be coming upon the world are. And Shannon's here again today. Thank you so much, Shannon, for coming. She takes time out to come and do this, and I am grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for y'all guys that I can see out there and see you in my video analytics as well. See that y'all guys are showing up, and hopefully, hopefully we can see if today if the call in thing works. Let me see. Where's my? Yeah, there we are. So I'm a little nervous to be honest with y'all guys to try this because there's things that can go wrong that I haven't. It's like what could go wrong? Well, we'll find out. Um, so let's go ahead. Y'all guys go ahead and you can write that number down. You at least need to write down the PIN number. You can punch in the phone number to your phone and save it. It will be the same every week, I believe, unless I change methods as to how I'm doing the call-ins. And but write that PIN down. That PIN is 530-190-647. And
Oh, we lost you there. You're on pause. anyways, guys, I'm not sure if you can still hear me, but make sure you give us a call here. And while Daniel is trying to figure out what's going on, I'd love to see how many people are around. If you can make a little comment saying hi, a little emoji, that'd be great. Don't forget to write this down. Hopefully these technical difficulties will cease here soon. Anyways, I hope that you guys are doing good. It looks like I'm your guy at this moment. So let's see how this works out. What I think I'm going to do is I am going to tell you guys a little bit of a supernatural story that I've got here. I've had a lot of interesting experiences in my 42 years on this earth, and a really great supernatural story about being, what's the word? Seer, kind of how we were talking about the last episode of seeing into things in dreams. I had once a dream that was very prophetic, and it seemed to be about what is going on about this time, kind of like what the lady had shared with us previously with her story about seeing the future and things along those lines. Oh, Daniel's back. We're good. We're good. You don't have to.
Holy moly, it actually stayed live and you were able to take over.
Oh, well, it's what a co-host is for. That's right.
Yeah, hey, that worked out better than I thought. But yeah, my PC I got the blue screen of death. I'm like, I'm done. I don't know what you were saying, but feel free to finish. But then we'll get back to whatever we were doing, getting ready to start the call in. And I bet I've got to reset up the room again too. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Things can go wrong. That's the first time that's happened live before.
Right. I was just talking about how I had a very prophetic dream a couple years ago. And I think I actually talked to you about this a couple of days ago in passing when we were having conversation about how I had this very prophetic dream where my friends and I were down in this basement, and I had actually just gotten done battling some kind of evil spirit in this house, and I ended up in this basement with all my friends, like as though we were in a storm. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with California, but not too many houses out here have basements. We're not that cool like a lot of you guys on the east coast of the world. We don't really have too many basements out here for whatever reason, but in my dream I was in a basement, and we're watching the news, and on the news you can see all of these places going off in nuclear explosions. And as I'm running outside to catch up with my best friend, because she's not there yet and she's just running into the parking lot, I can see all this ring of fire around me, and I saw this massive bomber jet passing over, and it had the Chinese flag on it, but it was really boxy and weird. I had never seen this bomber jet type thing before in my life. And I, during the dream, it's all around us, but we were okay. And that was kind of like the cool part of the prophetic dream, is that we were still safe, even though everything around us was going down. And the next day when I woke up, just like freaking out about this dream, I looked up the particular bomber plane that I saw, and it just so happened to be a Russian bomber plane that was given as a gift to the Chinese military. So I just thought that was a very interesting prophetic dream that I had, considering that this was a couple years ago before the whole, Ukraine.
Do you remember what kind of bomber jet it was?
I don't remember the exact name, but when I after this show, I'll find a picture and I'll set it. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
We'll go over that again because it's very interesting. It's very boxy looking.
The way something I've kind of started to understand is that the way visions work, whether they're dreams or day visions, and this is, you have to realize that the prophets in the Bible, most of what they were seeing was visions, and they were writing this stuff down from visions. And then you have to understand that the different books of the Bible, uh, like the book of Daniel, will tell a story that's also being told in Revelations. It's being re-seen with different symbolism. So I guess what I'm saying is that just like the prophets or anyone that's a seer, okay, like we talked about in the last episode, they when you see these things, you have to figure out what the symbolism is in it and figure it out, because this is a supernatural vision. And then you can sometimes match it up to existing prophecies that have been written by previous prophets. I didn't know that the Bible was written telling a lot of the same stories from different perspectives, from different visions, but telling and talking about the same events. And it does. And that was a big revelation for me, realizing that. And also realizing just what I just said is that it's so, the word prophet has always been like this word, like, the prophet, a special man of God or a special woman of God. And a lot of us are able to become, it even says that in the end times that we'll see visions, and we'll see, all these different things that'll be going on. And it means you, and it means me, and it means other people, especially if you're paying attention like we are, and like y'all guys are that are here right now. I know y'all guys are paying attention. That's part of why you're here. And I would never go around, like I said last time, I would never go around and say this is a prophecy exactly, or I'm prophesying, or this and that. I think it's just, for me, only my personal opinion, it's too far. If someone wants to claim, we have a caller. If someone wants to claim that's between them and God. I'm not their judge. That's for sure. That's what my name means. God is your judge. I mean, and so yeah, it's okay to realize that's what's happening when you are able to see these things and know they're coming. Well, let's see, Shannon. We have a caller.
Let's go. I'm ready,
folks. I don't know what to do. I ain't got myself ready here. I have to be able to. Oh, this ain't gonna work. No, it'll work. Yeah, play the music. Play the music, because I've got to. Which I know we don't have the music to play, but I've got to turn on my headsets and put them on, because or I'll get feedback coming out of this room. So I have to isolate it and hope that I can still hear. Maybe I can hear out of one ear and just hang it over the other, so it don't fall off my head.
Technical difficulties. Just hold on a moment, please. Thank you.
Yes, please hold momentarily while we figure out what we're doing.
I appreciate your guys' patience. Thanks.
Yeah. So now let me call myself. Wait a minute. Let me make sure this connected. I think it connected. Got to make sure this is working properly. And we'll be more ready next time once we know what we're doing. Oh, it is working. All right, this ought to be interesting. Pin code, see if I got to enter it. 3019. 647. Is it working?
I am looking through these comments, and I just wanted to give my condolences to Clifton James Kelly about your kitty. I'm so very sorry that you had to bury your kitty today, and I'll be praying for you today for that. Sorry about that. Just wanted to kind of shout that out because it's never good to lose a fur baby. Breaks my heart for you. We're getting closer. Got this.
Well, here we are. This is going to be interesting.
Ooh, got an echo.
Uh-oh.
Hi.
Hi. Hang on.
Hi there. I'm calling in with a story.
Yay!
Excellent. Hang on just a second. Let me get rid of this echo, okay?
Okay.
Which I have no idea how to do. But I'm going to do it.
If we have to deal with a
I
little.
know we have little things like this. Let me show you what I'm dealing with on the screen itself. Share my screen so it makes some sense, maybe. Yeah. See, this is me here, and this is also me here calling into my own room. I wonder if it would work better without that. Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to try leaving the room for
We
myself.
have a suggestion that says lower your volume and your volume audio on your side.
Right.
Try it.
Hang on. Okay, I left that call. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
You can hear me. Shannon, tell me, can you hear her?
I can hear you.
And I can hear her just perfectly and no echo. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is actually
Yes,
going
I'm
to work.
hearing no echo either.
Wow. Oh, I didn't even have to call into the room.
It's supernatural.
Yeah, it is. Well, hi, and welcome to the show. You're our first caller ever.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I am so honored. Thank you.
Yep. You're season 1, episode 7, I think. And it's the first time we got brave enough to allow call-ins.
Wow. Well, that is so cool because this must be meant to be because I literally just got off the phone with my mom about an hour ago. We were talking about this supernatural story.
Wow.
And then, because I subscribed to your channel, I saw the notifications that the show was going live, and I'm like, oh, that would be fun to just share this because maybe the story can really edify some people, or maybe even, take a non-believer and even make them a believer.
Wow. Amazing. Well, we're, you mind sharing your first name or your nickname?
Sure. First name is Wendy.
Wendy. Okay, Wendy. Well, I'm sure you know me and Shannon. Thank you for calling in, and we're excited to hear your story. So feel free to go for it.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, well, this involves my father, who unfortunately died at the young age of 30. So when my father died that young, I was the age of 11, and I had 4 other siblings. So it was a pretty traumatic thing for my mother to go through, losing her husband at that young age. She had colorectal cancer and is probably one of the youngest people to ever die from it. But nonetheless, it was very unexpected. And so as he, realized he was terminal, he started kind of preparing for his life. He had probably like 6 months notice before he died. And he had met with each one of my siblings and I individually. and spoken to us, and told us all the things that he thought were special about us, and he wanted us to know that he was going to go to a good place, and that he was you know he was going to be basically asking God, he said, to be able to show us a supernatural sign, to confirm and to comfort us, to let us know that he had gotten to heaven. So my dad was a believer, but maybe not in the truest sense, like people would consider a Christian today, because he was raised Catholic. But he did believe in Jesus, and he did a lot of studying of the scriptures towards the end of his life. And he would even have people come over and give him communion as he was in bed and stuff. And anyway, he was in and out of the hospital a lot, and it was a pretty chaotic scene at the house. But during this time, as he was nearing the end of his life, he was studying a lot of the scriptures. And my dad was a pretty deep individual. And anyway, he had said to us near the end of his life that, he was going to ask God if he could do some supernatural things, if God would allow it, that he was going to come through for us and show us these amazing signs. So there were actually several signs that took place after my father had died, right after he had died. And the one is the one I'm going to tell you now. It basically involved his casket. And so when my mother found out he had just passed away, she was in a state of shock, of course, and she went to this place where you go purchase the caskets, I guess, and she didn't really want to be there. She was with her mother and just didn't really care, because she knew, when the body dies, it is literally just a vehicle. It's a shell, that hosts the spirit and the soul. So my mom's like, it really doesn't matter what the casket looks like. She felt guided, though. As soon as she walked into the place to pick the casket out, she literally walked all the way down to the very end, went to a specific row, and without even looking at the outside of the casket, she just picked one. And she said, this is the one. And they said, well, ma'am, don't you want to, look at the outside of it? Or do you want to look at some other caskets? We have hundreds here to choose from. She's like, no, I really don't even want to be here at this moment. That's the one I want. And I said, okay. So when it came time to put my father in the ground, and the time of the funeral, and we were all standing outside under this tent as they were about to lower the casket into the ground. And right before they did so, they had all of us children put a long stem rose on the casket. We had made, cards for him, with loving messages in there. My mom had put her wedding rings in there. And so they had closed the casket top, and I went to go put my long stem rose on top of the casket after they had finally closed it. And I was only 11, so I didn't know, like, if I was just seeing things or what was going on, but I noticed that the outside of the casket was made of a wood grain. And you know how sometimes pictures can show up in wood grain, whether, no matter what it is, because there's patterns to a wood grain, But nonetheless, this was a casket. We did not expect anybody to sell one that had a picture on it, right? So that's why I thought maybe I was seeing things. But I went to lay my rose down, and I see the image of the face of Jesus Christ on the casket in the wood grain. And I think I was the first one to notice it, but I went back to the group where everybody was standing around, and I was surprised that nobody else was seeing it. I was the only one. So then I thought, okay, maybe I need to check with somebody else, make sure I'm not the only one seeing this. And sure enough, the people around me, I pointed it out, and they were like, oh, wow, that's amazing. We see that too. The face of Jesus is right in the wood grain. It was so unmistakable. And it was a huge picture. It wasn't like, a small little thing you had to really squint to see. It was like all over the top of the casket. The wood grain had somehow formed a perfect image of a face of a man that looked very similar to your typical picture you would see of Jesus Christ. So then you started hearing murmuring in the group around the casket, and people were pointing and going, oh my goodness. And my mom was standing right next to me, and I said, Mom, look. I said, look at the top of the casket. It's the face of Jesus. And she went, oh, and she fainted. So, there were a couple guys behind her who caught her, of course, and then it took about 5 minutes for her to kind of come out of that. But she was so shocked at what she saw that she literally fainted, and everybody else was just like, "That's amazing! It's a miracle! It's a miracle!" And so anyway, this is the story I was talking about with my mom today on the phone just like an hour ago. And so I said to her, "Mom, I don't know if you know this, but when everybody was done and they went inside the building for like an after get together where they had food and drink and people could sit and talk with each other and stuff, the building was on the premises, and I had gone there with everybody right after we were done with the ordeal outside with the casket. But I was very curious, and at the age of 11, I probably shouldn't have done this, but I snuck away from the building where everybody was congregating and talking and stuff. And part of me said, I am going to find that casket, and I want to see for myself if that image of Jesus' face is still on there. Because it didn't make any sense to me that anybody would sell a casket, with an image of Jesus on it. Not that that wouldn't be, bad, but just that would infringe on people's, beliefs and rights. We can't just assume that everybody out there believes in Jesus. So I doubt that they would sell a casket like that. But part of me said, I got to see this for myself. I've got to see if that image is still there. So I was trying to find the plot where it was, and this man found me and said, "What are you doing without your parents? Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I need to go see my daddy because, we're having his funeral right now, and I think I left something at the casket site." And I think I was asking for the rose back or something like that. I don't know. I had to make up something. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll direct you to it." So he guided me right to the plot. And I looked at the casket, and they hadn't laid it in the ground yet. Sure enough, that image was not there any longer. This was approximately 20 minutes after this miracle showed up in front of our eyes. And anyway, it was no longer there. And he said, "Did you find what you were looking for?" And I said, "I sure did." And then I ended up he guided me back to the building. And so I knew that what we had seen was a miracle. It turns out that there are a lot of people in my immediate family, including my own mother, who don't believe in Jesus. So I knew that my dad was absolutely trying to let my unsafe family members know that he is real. He is the key. He is the way, the life, and the truth. And so I was trying to explain this to my mother on the phone today, and I hope it's okay that I digress a little bit, but there was another miracle that had happened right around the same time, and that was regarding a scripture that my dad really loved, and where it talks about the key lying within your own garden. And this priest that my dad knew, the priest had lost a tabernacle key that supposedly was holding a bunch of blessed hosts for a mass. And so Easter Sunday was coming up. My dad died on like a Holy Thursday right before Easter. And the priest had said, "Tom, I cannot find," Tom was my dad's name, "I cannot find the tabernacle key. And if I can't find it in time, this is not going to be good. We have thousands of people coming for mass, and I have got to find this key." But lo and behold, it was also interesting that it was the favorite scripture my dad would discuss with this priest about the key lying within your own garden. And anyway, so the priest actually had a little garden where he lived outside his kind of like an apartment. I guess they call them rectories, where priests live. And it was kind of like a little apartment with stairs. And he did not know my dad had passed away. But the moment my dad passed away, within a couple of hours, my mom got a phone call from this priest. And this priest said, "You're not going to believe what just happened to me." He said, "I was walking up the stairs into my apartment, and I heard my phone ring. And someone had informed me that Tom had died. And right before the phone call, I was going up my stairs, and something strange had happened to me. I felt like somebody was guiding me and turning me around. So it was this unknown force was leading me down the stairs and out the front door. And right outside my front door is a little garden that I have. And it's not very big, but I grow carrots and flowers and whatnot in there, just a few things. And I had just passed that garden as I was walking in the apartment a few moments ago. Didn't notice anything weird, but this feeling I had overtook me and made me feel like I need to look at that garden again. And so, he describes the story of him being just kind of supernaturally let out the front door, and his head just naturally looked down towards the garden. And in the garden was this key, and it was shining so bright. He said it was like something he'd never seen before. And he goes, wow, I did not see that key there when I first walked in the door a few moments ago. What's that doing here? And then he's like, wow, I wonder if that's the tabernacle key I've been looking for. And he checked it out, and sure enough, it was the tabernacle key. And so he had told my father before he died that, gosh, it would just be so great if I could find this tabernacle key before Easter with all these blessed hosts. And then my father had died the Thursday before Easter, and it was on that Thursday, on Holy Thursday, when this had happened. So the priest was so moved by this experience, he actually wrote an article in the newspaper about it and stuff, and we still have the original article on that. But anyway, that's pretty interesting, right? And then if that's not enough to make you go, wow, my father did one more thing that was pretty amazing. It was also on the day of his funeral. He had a friend, a longtime friend that we've all, a friend of the family who's also basically like family. And she and her daughter were driving to the funeral. On the way to the funeral, they were on the interstate. And somehow, some way, they got sideswiped by a car and pushed off the shoulder of the road. And I guess there was like a little bit of a dip in the land. So they were kind of stuck. Their car was working, but it was like stuck in almost like a ditch kind of thing. And the other car that hit them had just driven right off. And she thought, wow, what bad timing. We're right on the way to Tom's funeral, and now this happens. Now we're surely going to be late. And so her daughter, which I think at the time was like 15 or 16, was in the front seat with her mom. And they're on, if you can imagine the car just kind of not on its side completely, but just kind of tipped over into a ditch. They, as soon as they lifted their heads, her daughter had said, oh my goodness, Mom, look, there's Tom. And my dad's face appeared on the other side of the car on the windshield, and both of his hands were widespread on the windshield. And just when they saw that, I don't know if it was a vision or what, but they saw this, briefly, and all of a sudden their car literally lifted out of the ditch or out of the down decline or whatever, and was up onto the side, the shoulder of the interstate, just sitting there perfectly. She turned the ignition or started, and they got to the funeral on time.
Wow.
So that's another crazy story.
Yeah.
But, these are things that my dad had said he wanted to do to comfort us. And he had prayed about it over and over again. And he said, it's not up to me, and it's not going to be by my power, but if God allows it, it'll be to his glory. So those, in so many words, that's what he had said. So so those are just a few stories of right around the time my father passed away.
Wow. I don't think I could have asked for a better first caller. Holy smokes. You're such a blessing. I mean,
thank you.
And you mentioned the word crazy story. Well, let's go with supernatural stories. We want to erase the context of crazy or anything like that from this, because you just told the truth. I can tell you're calling in excited to tell the truth, because you can call here and that I'm going to believe you, and that what you got to say is the truth. And it was a beautiful thing. And it's like, let's tell the world. And that's what we just did. We just shouted it out to the world, because these videos will be here for everyone to see.
Really, you can't, just one of those stories alone is enough to really make you go, But, but when you hear all three of those stories together, it's like, how can you deny that there's an afterlife? How can you deny that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that the scriptures are real and all these things, I mean, it really is such, I like to consider it a gift. It was just a lovely gift that my dad was able to leave for us. And he was also a musician, and my family's all in the entertainment business, but not on a Hollywood basis, or not on a basis that you would typically think of most recording companies these days or whatever. But we have a long history of being musicians, and my father was a drummer, and he was also a singer. And so right before he died, he recorded 2 songs. If you ever like to have it played on your show or whatever, I would love to share it. But so he re-recorded Elton John's song, which is called Your Song. And so he recorded that with the drums and the vocals and my other family members who played in the band, and left that as kind of like a little way to remember him by for us children. And then he recorded another song for my mother, which was called We Got By. And it's amazing that he was able to gather as much energy as he could to even get through, singing and playing the drums on those songs 2 weeks before he died. But he did a really wonderful job, and the songs are really beautiful. So, in case you ever want to.
Well, you never know. We might.
I've got.
I'm suspecting you, because you already believed in the supernatural. I suspect some other things happened that you're going to be able to call back in another time and tell us about that too. And maybe we'll have a chance to chat directly. I know this is directly, but we're live doing a show. So, but I mean, like if you go on the website and submit your information on there, so that way I can get your contact information and remind me the story of the story. You don't have to write the whole thing out, but just remind me of the story that you told, and you were my first caller. And then that way, maybe we'll have a chance to talk some more a little bit. That is truly, most people would think, because they only want to believe what they were raised and told that is possible. They would think a car coming up out of the ditch by itself kind of thing. Well, I'm sure you probably were, but I know that those kind of things can happen because they've happened to me. I've run cars through the swamp and then get the tires dirty, off the side of bridges and stuff. Like I told on the last, I think it was the last video, where I fell asleep, ran off the road, and went down beside this bridge. It was out in the south in the country, so it was a flat bridge, but I went down the side of the bridge, and I should have crashed down in the water and the swamps, stumps and everything, but I didn't. My memory was wiped for 2 or 3 seconds, and the next thing I know, I'm driving down the road again without even the tires dirty. And literally grabbed it. Nope, you're not dying today. Down like somebody pushed a toy car back down the road again. And that's happened to me.
Wow.
And I know it's true. And by you sharing your story and me sharing mine and other people sharing theirs, this, just like you said when you first called in, it's going to help people realize that, no, they're not crazy. No, they're not making it up. They're not imagining things. These things really happen. They happen in all of our lives, and they're real and they're supernatural. And we need to recognize that, and so that we can learn what this life is better about, and how it all really works, and that God is real. And so thank you so much for calling in. I could talk to you for a whole nother hour.
Well, just to bring up real quick, but I think was
and of course I'm not going to get into those now, but I have other stories, just not with my father, but other stories that have happened to me personally that are amazingly supernatural. So maybe in the future I can call in again.
Please do that. Seriously, please call in again.
Okay.
As soon as I hear your voice, I'm going to know you.
I just wanted to make note real quick before you get off there. I just thought that it was so amazing that your father prayed beforehand to give you guys those messages and for God's glory. That really touched my soul right now, and I just really kind of wanted to bring that up again, because how neat that was such a gift. And I know I lost my father at a very young age from cancer, so I completely understand that aspect. That what a miracle! Like
Yeah.
God granted that prayer for him.
And the
Yeah.
faith of Christ in the wood grain.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My mind was spinning when you were saying that. My mind was going a million miles in a million directions as I'm thinking, you know, how different ways this could have happened and how this and that and everything. And it's like, wow, so amazing. Truly,
Right.
truly
And
supernatural.
considering the fact that yes, it is. And considering the fact that my mother didn't even spend more than 2 minutes picking out a casket. I mean, she literally just went in straight to one aisle and pointed to one, never saw the outside of it. Even the salesperson was like, ma'am, that's one of our more expensive ones. Are you sure you don't want to like look at it some more or compare shop with, do comparative shopping with other caskets? She's like, nope, I don't want to even be in here. This is the one. I don't know why, but this is the one. So, and it just turned out that way. It was amazing.
Is your mom a believer now? Because I know you mentioned she wasn't necessarily a believer before, but does she have faith now?
That's a very good question, and I am praying for her every day, and I believe that one day God is going to fully open up her spiritual eyes and her spiritual ears, and she will become a believer. She had said to me on the phone today when we were discussing this that, Wendy, you have your own beliefs and I have my own beliefs. I believe, Jesus was real, but, he basically said that we can become our own masters. And so my mother is a little, I think, personally deceived by some of the new age philosophy out there. And she's like, and I said, well, Mom, don't forget that we are created in God's image. The Bible says that we have a physical body, we have a soul, and we have a spirit, just like the Trinity of God. So God the Father, God the Son, which is Jesus Christ, his physical body, and God the Holy Spirit, which is the spirit. And so God the Father is the mind of God. And we all on earth are created in his image, which means we all have our own spirits and souls and bodies. So don't get the spirit and the soul confused. They are two separate things.
Yeah.
And so I heard some silence on the phone when I said that to her. I think she was thinking about what I said. So, my mother has been a New Age believer most of her life, and it's probably going to take a little bit more than me to be able to open her eyes, but I am praying for her every day. So
don't worry, I came out of the New Age, so it's possible. There are a lot of us who come to the right side. I'll be praying for that.
Yes, definitely.
Well, gosh, thank you for calling in today. And
my pleasure. Thank you.
Please do call in again on another show. We'd love to hear from you again. And thank you for thank you for sharing such a personal thing.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. I mean, through pain and suffering, you can turn around and use it for good somehow. This is just one way to turn around and use that pain and suffering for good. If somebody hears this story, whether now or later on, and it moves them or it touches them or it gets them to become a believer, then that's so worth it. And it's so wonderful and beautiful to, have an opportunity to do that. So, so I thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're very welcome, darling. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Sure. And I'll join the live chat until I can watch the rest of your show.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Still learning how all this works over here. Wow. How amazing was that? And we were like, we're destroying this show. And bam, she comes in and saves us.
Oh, praise Jesus.
And it worked.
He needed you. You did amazing. Perfect.
We needed her bad. Somebody with some patience to deal with us and trying to figure out what we're doing. I'm calling into myself, and I didn't even need to do it. So, gosh, that was really
it's okay.
The amazing thing about supernatural is that it covers such a wide array of things, as well. You can call in here and you can speak about anything that's outside of the realm of what people call where's my camera? Normal, that kind of thing. So feel free to call in and share those when we're on air like this, when we're doing call-ins. We've amazingly enough actually pulled off a successful show with, what was her first name again? Was it the caller? Wendy? Was it? Oh,
Wendy, yes.
Wendy.
Wendy.
Well, I hope I got that right. But yeah, Wendy called in and saved us because this was really a test episode, but now this is going to stay permanently on the channel as our 7th episode, I think it is, of the Supernatural show. And wow, how amazing was that? All right. So with that being successfully done, let me see here.
Is there anybody else who wants to call in?
I don't know. Is there anybody sitting there with their fingers on the button? If there are, right now is your chance because the call in is still open.
Yeah.
We got the music again. Do, do, do,
do. Do, do, do.
I think we just got supernatural in having her as our first caller. Because that was
that was pretty incredible. It gave me chills. That was pretty amazing.
Right.
And I relate quite a bit, again, like I mentioned, with my father passing away young and of cancer, and he passed away on World Cancer Awareness Day, which I thought was kind of interesting in itself. But when you lose your father, it's quite a traumatic thing, especially being so young, being 11 years old, and just trying to process everything. And the fact that she picked up on all those beautiful miracles, like she was the one who saw that in her dad's coffin, and went to go check back, and that just I think that it was.
And that's one of the things I've been thinking is we need to start noticing these things and slow down, pay attention to what you're seeing. Something supernatural is happening. It's something that's being communicated some way, somehow. Something's coming across the veil, and we need to realize what's happening and why is it happening. Sometimes they're happening before something happens. Say they're warning you of an event, or sometimes it's happening after. Or sometimes it's just something totally different in a supernatural way. Like, because like I say, this show is about all kinds of things, even people going out and seeing Sabe in the woods, the hairy people from back in the days of Esau. And so, yeah, it's amazing how wide array of things and people starting to notice them. And the fact that she calls in right away, our first caller, boom, gave us a wonderful, beautiful, successful show right out the gate when I was really worried, other than my computer crashing. But luckily, I had Shannon.
Yay!
Well, this co-host thing is working out.
That's right.
Yeah, it's working out good.
The hostess with the mostess. Oh.
The hostess.
For all you Beetlejuice fans out there, just
right. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that today. I've got a couple things I got to kind of go take care of. And so since we did have a successful call in and all that, please share this. Please subscribe. We're doing videos basically every other day. And then we're going to settle on an exact time. We're aiming for either 3 or 4 o'clock every other day, and it'll be on a schedule. And that schedule, I've got a schedule on the website right now, like right here, but we're missing our times a little bit because of technology and hairdos like mine, all this hair. And, but we'll get it nailed down here soon enough. And we'll be really getting smoother and smoother with it. I still don't really know what I'm doing other than I have the ability to nonstop run my mouth. Which I told Shannon earlier, I said, you don't have to shut me down sometimes. I'll run the whole show.
No worries. I hope Wendy calls back in with her dad's music, by the way. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, I'll just have to talk to her and make sure there's nothing going to be copyright problem.
Of course.
But if we can check that out and test it, then definitely we would have her call in and play it. You know, why not? We'll have, this show is big enough for anything. All right, guys, don't forget.
Even my heart? Big enough for my heart? Are you sure? It's pretty big. It kind of expands, keeps growing.
Say what now?
I said it's big enough for my heart because it just keeps growing. Oh. I mean, it might get too big for that. I don't know.
I think you'll be all right. You got a big heart anyways. Like I said, guys, I've known Shannon for several years, and she's just always like this, just the perfect friend. So that's why she's co-hosting this. And I might just mention real quick before we go is that we have the ability to have another co-host with us as well. So understand that I might be looking for one more person maybe, because Shannon's not always maybe going to be available, or maybe I'm not available when they need to run the show, and because we're going to be trying to take this serious and run it on a schedule, like I said. And because too, as this grows, we're going to have more and more stories, more and more emails coming in on a regular basis, more and more call-ins, and we're not going to have time to be dropping the ball and disappointing people and not keeping our word, because our word is our bond, and that is the only thing that sets us apart from the animals of this planet, or one of the only things anyways. But any last thoughts, Miss Shannon? Soul 7 on YouTube?
Wanted to say thank you, Daniel, because you're a really awesome person and a great friend, and I really appreciate you having me on with you. I think it's gonna be a really entertaining and special time to hear even more callers, because that one already blew my mind, so I'm ready. I'm like,
yep. That one set the precedent, didn't it? That was good.
I hope you guys.
I'm looking forward to it too. That went surprisingly good after I figured out I didn't have to call myself. I was scared there was going to be an echo if I didn't call myself. Turned out the computer handled it and did it. So, hey, what do you know?
Oh, technology sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being here. I know there was a lot of you here watching. Quite a few people were here. So thank y'all, guys. And please help us grow. Share this with a friend that might need to hear this kind of message. And share it with a friend that don't need to hear this kind of message. That's okay, too. And help us with the algorithm by thumbing up the video. That it does help build the audience, which y'all guys are part of. When you do those little things that take 2 or 3 seconds, it does build the audience. It helps the show. It helps me. It helps Shannon. So we do appreciate it.
Story out to more people.
Yeah, we want to tell the whole world. All right, guys. Well, we'll be seeing everybody again real soon.
Good night.
Until next time.
Until next time,
we will see you.
Are we gonna do it? Is that what we're gonna do?
Kind of what I was kind of headed to, but I think we're gonna get kicked off the air if we do much of that.
Hey, speak for yourself. Just kidding.
I can sing like I sound like Johnny Cash trying to sing or something. I could hear the train a coming. It's rolling down the track. I ain't gonna try right now.
I was going. I was jamming.
All right. All right, guys.
Okay, we're being nerds. Have a good night.
See you till next time. Bye-bye.